Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian indices, and starting with the ASX on the daily chart here. Well, we had this. I had this particular top here in place here as wave 5 and wave 1. That could still be the case, but what I noticed is that the current move down through here looks corrective as an ABC. Now, from the ABC, the market can move up straight up through here and make this high here, or this ABC here may just be the A wave, and then we come up for a B wave, and then we come down for a C wave, looking for this wave 2 here. Okay, so it's a little bit of a tricky area here, so we need a bit of strategy. What I normally find at the number 3 here is that we normally have the arrival, the reaction that can pull back in 3 waves to the 20 here. We don't particularly ever want to, when we're working with number 3 here, we never want to see number 2 become a retested resistance. In a lot of cases, I see the market spike down to 1.5 here, but then come back up and sit on here and then move up as such. So what we're really looking for here is a classic trading levels pattern, which is the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and then a correction here. And then if support is found after that, then we can move in and go up from that point there. So in this case, we've got the arrival, the reaction here. So it's quite normal to see 5 waves push up into this area here and then have an ABC correction here. Yes, it may get support on there again and go up, and that's what we would be looking for. But at the same time, we've got to we have to acknowledge what's going on here in this particular count here as well. So a little bit of a tricky situation. So let's just go in and discuss this a little bit. And yeah, so we'll start with the 4-hour chart here. So with the 4-hour chart here, we can view this as wave 3 here, wave 4 in a triangle pattern here, and then wave 5, a 5 of 1, and then an A and a B and a C here for the A wave, the B wave pulling back up to the 61.8% here, and then making a move lower through here. Now, with this here, this is the a move down to here is the support here. So it's at this point here that we could see the market move up from here, or we get a bounce off here, and then we move down further through here, looking for that 5-wave structure in this space here. So that I don't know, but this little box here, the 61.8% mark, is a bit of a line in the sand, really. So that as resistance makes it go down further. Obviously, that is a it's a long way from the price at the moment, and a lot of opportunity missed. So we may have to take a risk further up in here if you're willing to do that. So let's just go in and talk about the bullish move now, with this being up here as an impulsive wave and this coming back and this moving up. So there's a couple of ways I've counted it here. I've counted it like this here, which is which we've got this is wave 3 here, wave 4 here, wave 5 in green here, an A and a B and a C here, and then this up for wave 1 and back for wave 2 here, 3, 4, 5. Up into this space here. I've also counted it the same, but with different labeling, 1 degree higher as well, because I think that it suits to be 1 degree higher, but I'll get to that in a moment. So in this instance here, we'd look at this as wave 1. It could be this wave 1 or wave 1 in green, and it's hit the 61.8% mark, and looking for it to move back into this little box here and then move up here. So you can see that we need a bit of tactics within all of this here. So I'm just going to go to the 1-hour chart now. So there is a nice trend line from the top here to this top here. So if you don't understand anything and you made a mistake, that trend line there is a bit of a line in the sand. So if this, for whatever reasons, this market breaks higher through that trend line, then you need to be long from that point. Alrighty, this can be counted to the upside. I can count this up in different ways here. Normally I also look to the cash market to do it, but the cash market's got a big gap in here, so there's nothing really there to count. But yeah, I can count it as, on the tick chart we can go through this. It can be counted in different ways, but whichever way I look at it, it can still be counted as 5 waves up. So in that case, we can look at this as an A wave here, a B wave here, and then 5 waves down for the C wave here. Will it pull all the way down to the 61.8%? I don't know. Probably not, being a Friday as well. Friday can be bullish, but we need to be... The thing was that the thing that put me off a little bit, it was Thursday was a bit bullish, so at least in the first instance. So yeah, it's sort of thrown it, so makes Friday bearish actually. So let's just go into the tick chart and look at this a little bit further and come up with a bit more of an understanding. So in terms of counting to the upside, I can count it as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave, an A, and then an A and a B and a C here for the B wave, and down for the C wave for 4, and then up for 5 here to make wave 1 here. And then I can see this as being 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit on 4 here, and down for 5 here. So 5 waves here for wave A. And then wave B here is in 3 waves, an A and a B and a C here for wave B. So that would make it to the downside. I would have to take this low out here to, really confirm that that price action, but it does appear to be that way. So what we can do here, we had that big line going across here and touching across here and coming through here. But this one here is a little bit sharper, just coming off these two here. So that means that if, we could look at it as that we've got group 2 here, so the 62, 65 here, 65, 72 and 80 are part of group 2, and we also know it's a 61.8% retracement level in here within group 2, so that makes it a nice fit there. So you could say that if 65 became a nice tested support, you could buy a contract on there, then look to add to 2 contracts on basically doubling up really on 72, and then you can also look to add on top of 80 as well. I would certainly take some money off the table at 6.3, but we can go higher than that as well, so be mindful of that. So with this move down through here, counting this as wave 1 and 2 here, and then wave 3 coming down here, which will probably bounce off the 250 area here. So let me just move that across here, and then wave 4 here. So be careful about wave 4 being, in fact, I better move that here. You know it's there. So, but wave 4 in Elliott waves typical to break the trend line, so it may get you into that a little bit early. So if it breaks this low here and it's down here, we'll certainly be looking for 5 waves down in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So yeah, so there we go. So if it trades below the normally, I can't draw on this side of the tick chart, but it's likely to come to the 50, bounce off that, move through, and then if it finds support back on here, then go long from that point. I can't drag that across there either. Then go long from that point there, using the 50 as a nice tested support, and start building into it, and then build in through these guys, chill out here or take some profit. Once that becomes the support here, then trade long again on that one there. On the short side here, you can go short if you wanted to. The risk is higher trading against the trend, but the short trade here would be this low coming in here, coming back and retesting that. So I'll just draw it over here. So the markets come through here to retest that 265, and then have the short trade under that to come down through here. So going under this low here for the short trade, the stop would need to go at least above this high here, and you'd want to take part profit here, or all of it here, because there will be a nice solid bounce here, and this could just dribble down, because if it wants to go back up from here, the wave 5 will be short, and it may not pull all the way down through to here, but that would be the short trade coming under here if that's the case. So I just want to have a look at CBA and BHP while we're here before we move on. this is CBA from the low here. So we counted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 up here. We'll look at this move down here. It counts in 5 waves. So I was always waiting for another move down. I thought, well, wave B maybe. Sorry, just get my buttons right. So I thought wave B might be here, and we could sort of squash in here like this and put wave 2 here. That's possible. But also too, I really need to give it a little bit of space here. So this can be an A and a B, and then 5 waves up for a C wave here. So I guess if this top here gets, this top here breaches to the upside, then you can trade long from that point. Technically, we should be on this one here, but this can certainly move down, drop down here into 5 waves before moving up here. Okay, so that would be in line with that. I just also want to have a look at, just point out something in BHP. This is BHP on a daily chart here. Okay. Really what I want to say about this here is not a great deal, but this is a bullish pattern here. This is bullish corrective here. This is a corrective pattern because it's got overlapping wave structures. The highs and the lows overlap each other, so it's corrective. Is it ready to go up? I'm not sure. I need to have a pull apart all the details and work it out if it appears to be a triangle pattern and can move up from here, because we'll have to look at it as an A wave, B, C, D and E wave here. So it's possible to move up from here. I just need to, obviously we'd want to check crude oil from that point there as well. So we have seen crude oil find a bit of support there. Let's just let me have a look at the Elliott count for that for a second. Yeah, we can look at that moving up a bit higher from here, so that's possible to move up from here. Also, I just want to have a look at Rio while we're here as well, because that's also been in a correction too. It's been in a different type of correction, but corrective all the same. So from this top up here on the daily chart, we can look at this as the A wave and the B wave here, and then the move down through here would have to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So this would be the C wave moving down, and that would be wave 1, and that would be wave 2. This would be wave 3 here, and this is either wave, this is wave 4 here, but it may just be the A wave of an A and a B, and because wave 2 was simple, wave 4 could be complex. So an A and a B and a C wave, and then one more move down here. So we're not ready to get trapped yet. If the top of 82 gets taken out and gets support on 82, the C wave can move up to 82, the same height here, but I doubt it, because we'll be overlapping wave 1 here, which we are already. So, but I haven't seen from this top here, I haven't seen 5 waves down here just yet. So yeah, unless we count this as a truncated 5th wave, but not prepared to go there just yet. Don't have enough evidence to go along here yet. So in this case here, we can still move up here a little bit, and then have another leg down. We want to see 5 waves down A, B, C before we want to go in and start buying this at this stage. Just to point that out, but also to point out that these markets can be bullish corrective, and obviously this is playing out here across this level here, the 80 here, the major trading level. So it's going to it'd be nice if it comes down here and then gets back up there. Then it's kind of a much safer trade to work with, and we can work with that price point there. Okay, I'll leave that for the time being. But yeah, so we'll see. So China, still in a bearish situation here. I have changed this a little bit. I have changed, we had this as a blue wave 4 up here, and I've just done a bit of work on it, and I can see that I made an error in this structure here, so I've corrected that now. So I'm putting this as wave 3 here, wave 4 here. This is wave 1. It's the same count pretty much. So wave 2 here, and then from wave 2 we've got we want 5 waves down for wave 3 here, so that would be 1 and 2 all the way down for 3 here, wave 4 here, and then we just wanted to make a bit of time for this to sort itself out here. But if it came to support here, we would be long from that point. Otherwise, you keep your stop above that point and should still may have 30%. And everybody's got different things. I mean, you give everybody the same amount. If you gave everybody $20,000 to trade with and they all took the same trades, they would all put different amounts of money in there, so that they would all have different balances at the moment. Some would be empty, some would be half full, some would be, so on. But look, this move down here, I just don't think that it's finished yet here, so we can look for a short trade. The problem with the short trade here, though, is that just putting that on the 11th tab, that little box here is the 61.8% mark from that low to that high here. The other interesting point too, this low here, this bigger box here, is from a much bigger picture as well, as a 61.8% retracement level as well. So I just want to see how that plays out. It certainly played out on this low here, so I just want to keep it here for a while and see if it messes all this up here even more. But this should drift lower here. So if you wanted to trade it short, then we could just grab that here, put it under the current lows, and this one here would need to go above that little high here as such. So let's see, if you want it, that's a bit higher risk, that one, so if you want to take that, that's fine. And then once we get 5 waves down here below low, we've still got a wave 4 here to go, and then a wave 5. So we'd be looking, this market, normally when the medium level here becomes the resistance, we can look at the 10,000 being the being pulled down to the closest largest number at this point. I always consider 11,500 a much stronger number than 11,000 and 12,000, even though they'll all play out their parts as supports and so on. This just plays out with just in a stronger way. That's all. Right, the Hong Kong market. Maybe I need to go back and check this, but it feels okay at this stage where we have wave 1 and 2 here, all the way down for wave 3, 4, and then looking for 1 and 2 and wave 3 here to move lower. It would need to move lower here, of course. And this would be down here somewhere. So we're still in a bearish trend here. We can look at going along at this point up here. We can also copy segment. Once that becomes the retested resistance, then you can trade that. So what that means, of course, is, as always, it's already tested now anyway, so we could put that in there. See how it's moved through here and then gone back up and tested. This is a 4-hour chart. There'll be a much better picture on yeah, it's clearer there, isn't it? So under this level here, you could probably even go up under this particular low here too, if you wanted to, under this one here. That move there is corrective. It's in 3 waves. It may be up for 1 and back for 2, up for 1 and back for 2. That's why we take this one here, because if it moves through there, then that confirms it being corrective at that point. Okay, India, the Nifty. So we're still looking for this to move higher. It's going to sort of struggle a little bit while the other markets are struggling, but it's also just dancing across the 11,000 area here, and pretty much doing what we wanted it to do. So we can clean some of this up now. We don't need that segment, we don't need that segment, we don't need that one, that one, that one. We can put wave 5 here now, wave 3. I'm a little bit unsure about this pattern here so far, but the main point here is that it will come back down to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here somewhere, and then move up from there. So really what we want to be looking for here, if I can move that, is we want support. You can go long here again once that 11,000 becomes support. If this drifts down a little bit further than that, well then we'll look at that and we'll take that from there. But wave 2 low to wave 3 top there, yeah, it may drift down a bit further. So it can come down to, just get our guide sticks in there a little bit closer. It can come into that space there before moving up higher. So I'm not putting, we've got our stops out of the way down here, as mentioned before. You may have taken profit here, who knows, but yeah, we'll just, once this wave 4 low comes in, then we'll move these stops up. I'll just remove that, but then we can move that up under here. We need that. This wave 4 here is 1 degree smaller than this wave 4, so it's quite normal as a guide stick, is that this wave 4 here will be 60% bigger. This pattern will be 60% bigger than this pattern. It's kind of good to know that, and it's just a bit of a guide stick. It's not actually in the Elliott book as such, but it's just helpful to read it like that. Okay, so I'll just save that. And the Nikkei, I've got a couple of little problems with this here. It's possible to count this up here as wave 1 and coming back for wave 2 here. In terms of wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 into this space here and come all the way back to the 22,000. So it's maybe an idea to protect some profits here. There's going to be a sell-off here at the old highs anyway. We know that. It's just obvious. And the 23 here. If the 23 becomes the support here eventually, it may just move straight up from here and find the classic trading levels pattern, the arrival, the reaction in some way, first high above the level, and then finding support. If that's the case, then that confirms all of this count here. But while we're really sort of under here, we need to look at this as it could also be bearish as an A wave, a B wave and a C wave coming into here and then failing, but getting support on here clarifies that for me and moves up. But we have been treating it bullish, but there are different ways to count this move up here. I'm not sure what we're moving on. This was one way of counting it here. If that was going to be the case, that could actually even come lower from here, so that could actually move down lower from here, can move down to here before moving up there to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here. This never really finished off nicely here as well, so this could also be counted another way. I don't really have any answers for us here on this one, so just this is the one that I was counting it on here, as you know. So we got to this point here and we will look for wave 1 and 2, which is nice, wave 3 here. So then I was looking for wave 5 up here. So wave 5 doesn't really need to make a new high above here. It can be a truncated 5th wave, but still have 5 waves in it. But it's pretty hard to get 5 waves out of that. They're possible in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. But it looks really part of a corrective pattern here. So I'll have to go back and find out. I just can't see where I've made an error in here as such. Just one wave short. I suppose the other way to look at it really is by putting wave 4 over here and having this as 1 and 2 and 3 here, and A and a B and a C, but we're really overlapping the top of wave 1 here, so I'm not quite sure it's not a market that I'm familiar with all its little idiosyncrasies and personalities and so on, so I'm a little bit unsure, but this market can pull back to this point here, but it does look corrective in terms of an A wave, a B wave, and then a C wave coming down. So we may be on a low here already, so I'm not quite sure at this particular stage, but give some consideration in protecting here. And when you're protecting something, it's don't just exit because it's not really the right thing to do. The right thing to do is to take the next logical step and say to yourself, Okay, well, that could be the low there, I don't know, but I'll put my stop 1 point below that. Because then it could push up. There's no point getting out here, and then the market pushes up from here. It's not really taking the next logical step, isn't it? It's taking the next emotional step. So think those things out a little bit as well, and also think about what number that you're working with as well here, because we've got 700 here, so that means yeah. So yeah, that's the support. You don't want to sell on top of that, do you? That's for sure. Okay, I've waffled on enough. Thanks for tuning in, much appreciated, and enjoy the weekend. Cheers.